today we have...
Mack Whitehead, and I'm from Maryville, Tennessee.
And what is it you do, Mack?
I'm a amateur bowl maker. I started making bowls about a year ago, and a friend of mine, he kindly got me into this. He said I'd make small furniture and little things, and he said, why don't you try to make a bowl? And I said, well, I don't know how. I don't have the equipment to make it with. He said, well, I'll loan you a wheel. He said, it's called a King Arthur cutting wheel, carving wheel. He said, I've never used it, and he marked me a bowl out of a blank of wood he had. I didn't even have wood at that time. And 2 or 3 days later, he said, how you doing? And I said, well, I've really surprised myself. I said, he looked at it and he said, I can't believe you've done that. And so that's how I got started doing this. And you get you some wood blanks, and they have to be dry killed. I cut my own wood, 90% of it. I go to the woods and find it, and I have it sawed and took to the kiln and have it killed. And this wheel here it's got chainsaw teeth on it. It's real aggressive. It's dangerous. I mean, you better be careful when you hold this thing. And I use it to rough out. You can see how rough that bowl is. And then when you get to the point where you need to change, you go to this is called a Holy Galahad, Holy, because it's got holes in it. You can see through it while you're cutting it, and it takes it from this stage to this. It gets a lot smoother. And then you go to this finish. This is done by sanders. You know, I use an orbital sander, and I start out with like 80 grit paper, and I go on down to maybe 220 or 300, and then the work starts. You got to start hand sanding. This bowl is ready to start hand sanding, and then when you get your hand sanding done, you can do this. You can put on a sealer, is what I do. I use a sealer to seal the wood with, and then that's I've got different kinds. This is spalted maple. This is poplar, and this is box elder, and this is spalted maple, and this I think is basswood. Now we're not for sure. This little tray is box elder. And that's how I make my bowls.
How long does it take you to get from the first step to that last step?
Oh, I can if I work hard, I can go these first 4 steps in a day. Not really a working hard, just working a while on this and this. In a day, I can usually have a bowl ready to finish.
How long have you been doing this?
Just a year, a little, maybe 14 months, not very long.
How do you decide your shape and design of it? Does it go with the wood? Or?
Yeah, it does. And I've never made 2 bowls that looks alike. You know, they always different. And it's according to, a lot of wood's got flaws in it. You know, you have to work around the flaws in the wood, you know, and some of it'll have knots, and you work around that and that determines the size of your bowl. Like this little tray was just a slab that was left on a blank, and I thought, well, I'll make something out of that. And that's how I got that little tray. And that's how I determine what size the bowl is how good the wood is.
What wood do you prefer working with?
Well, it really don't make a lot of difference. This wheel will cut anything. Maple is probably the hardest wood that I've tried to work. It's real hard. Some maple is real hard, and the basswood, it's real easy to work with, and I've used some hackberry, and you have to cut it one way because it'll fray if you try to cut it the opposite way. But it makes a beautiful bowl too. I don't have any with me. I've got a grandson-in-law that he really likes this. You know, he really likes to come out in the shop with me. You know, and I make knives and bowls too, you know. And he likes to make a few things, you know, and help me. And he's a learning son.
Well, that's good. So maybe you can be able to pass that on to him.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. This bowl is made out of spalted maple, and when you talk about spalted maple, you have a log that lays on the ground so long, and a fungus will start growing in it, and that's when you try to hunt wood, and it's a lot of it's beautiful wood. This is spalted maple, semi-spalted maple. This is a piece of maple that's real spalted. It's got beautiful colors in it. And this wood is mineralized poplar, and the reason they call it mineralized poplar, the type of soil it grows in has got some minerals in the ground that causes the colors to be like this. And this fall, when poplar trees were blooming, I pulled the bloom off of one and the leaves, and I done this to it, and it turned out, I thought, pretty good, you know. And this wood is box elder, and it's I guess the most pesky tree we have. People hate it to be around their yard. These bugs gets on them, and they're really a nasty tree. And some of them's got beautiful color in them. It's just amazing how bright red the colors can be in some of them. And but it's a good working wood. It works good. It's in the maple family, and I've got a lot more different kinds of wood, but I didn't bring them today. And that kind of shows you what I do and how I make a bowl. And